Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Hegfreeze here. Today I am bringing you 4 fresh and really cool entitled parent stories. Keywords include bullying, McLaren car damage, baseball victim, and boss fight. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the stories. Entitled parent's kid steals my camera lens and nearly damages the 1.9 million pounds McLaren. This happened just under a year ago, but still clear in my head as I've never really had to deal with anything like this before. Bit of a background context. From the UK, go to a lot of car shows and a keen photographer. So, I was at a motorsports show, one of the large indoor type ones, and I was enjoying walking around the stands, seeing what people had brought to the show. I walk around the stand and see a yellow McLaren P1 GTR with green stripes. I start admiring it, looking around at its features, getting lots of pictures on my DSLR camera. It's semi-expensive, around 300 pounds, but I had lots of expensive lenses in my carrier bag. I decide to come back later to see if I could get the people who looked after it to open the door so I could see the inside. 2 hours later, after some lunch, I returned to the McLaren. Entitled parent, a father, was trying to calm down his kid who was having a tantrum. From what I heard, he was crying that he couldn't sit in the car. Maybe it was due to that he was holding a dripping ice cream. I walk over to get some more pictures, trying to ignore the screaming child. As I'm getting set up, changing lenses, the kid walks over and this is what followed. Kid: "What are you doing?" He had calmed down by this point. Me: "I'm taking pictures of this McLaren." Kid: "Can I see the camera?" Me: "Sorry, rather not. I don't want it to get damaged." Kid: "But I want to." I was a bit startled as this was a bit of a shout. Me: "I said no, please, leave me alone." The kid then goes away but returns with his dad. EP: "Why are you not letting my son look at your camera?" Me: "Because I don't want him to damage it and he is also still covered in ice cream." EP: "That's no excuse, you can just clean it off." I was about to respond, but then I saw the kid holding something in his hand. I first thought it was a water bottle, but then I looked in my camera bag and one of my close-up lenses was missing. I was now pissed. Not only was the most expensive and newest of my lenses missing, but it was also in the hands of the EP's kid. It costs around 470 pounds. At first I figured he's not very smart, so he won't be able to get the lens cover off. Never underestimate the knowledge of a child. He takes off the back cover, which covers the connection parts to the main body, and it is not good to keep them exposed to air for long. Just as he was about to drip ice cream on it, I reach and grab it back from the kid. He then starts having another tantrum and stomping around EP. EP: "Why did you do that? He wasn't damaging it." Me: "He was about to drip ice cream onto the exposed lens." EP: "Well, you should have been more careful about leaving your lenses around." Me: "Your little brat took it from my bag. He was stealing my equipment." The EP takes a few steps closer to me, as if to intimidate me. I'm not one for public arguments and take a few steps back, nearly into the McLaren's rear wing. The kid makes another run at my carrier bag and I pull it away, holding onto it with 2 hands. Then crap really hits the fan. The kid is in full angry mode, then walks around to the front of the McLaren, stands on the front splitter, the large flat wing that sits under the front bumper for aerodynamics, and then starts stomping about. I was absolutely shocked to see that the EP would let his kid do this. EP: "Let him have your camera," blissfully unaware of the situation behind me. As he has no idea what his kid is doing, so I try and play the situation to my advantage. Me: "Listen, I'm sorry that I won't let your kid use my camera, but right now you probably should control your child before he puts a football pitch-sized hole in your bank account." At this point, EP looks up and sees his kid being dragged off the front splitter by the people who ran the stand and looked after the car. He rushes over to them and the rest was just lots of yelling and arguing. I hear myself being mentioned a few times, but I was never called over, so I got back to taking pictures. After taking pictures of the back and putting all my camera kit away, including the lens the EP's kid took, I had to look to see what damage the kid had done. Nothing much, mostly muddy footprints and a drop of ice cream. I then heard the EP being escorted by security outside where his wife was waiting. Wish I could have seen that conversation. 10 minutes later, I get a tap on my shoulder and it's the people looking after the McLaren. They said that they are sorry for what happened and would like to make it up to me. They said that if I waited around till the end of the show, I could get a quick ride in the car to the transport truck outside. I agreed, and even though it was only 200 meters or so, it was very nice. Entitled father helps his daughter bully an innocent girl. I was teaching 5th grade, but this incident really occurred with the 6th graders, my students from the previous year. I had told them that they could come to me if they needed to talk about something. One day, a student, whom I'm going to refer to as Gigi for good girl, came to me to tell me she was being bullied by another girl, EK. I asked Gigi for the specifics, and she told me how EK had been pushing her in the hallways, saying mean, rude things and threatening to fight. I took the story to the principal, but she said that we couldn't really take any action since it was one student's word against another, but it was documented. Honestly, I felt a bit helpless because I wanted to help Gigi, but there was nothing I could really do at that time. Sometime later, a group of students came to me to let me know that EK was bullying Gigi. This time, EK had thrown Gigi's jacket in the garbage can of discarded food in the cafeteria. I went back to the principal, but she still didn't want to do anything since no teacher or faculty member had witnessed the incident. We should have known things were only going to get worse. The girls were in the restroom one day when a teacher heard Gigi scream in pain. She ran in only to see Gigi with a bloody nose because EK had just hit her. Both girls were taken to the office. By EK's account of the events, Gigi had accidentally bumped into her as she stepped back away from the sink, which prompted EK to hit her in the face with her fist because, according to EK, her father said she didn't have to put up with people bumping into her. Their parents were called and told to come to the school. Gigi's nose had stopped bleeding and she had cleaned herself up, so she asked if she could go back to class while waiting on her mother. She was given permission and she left the office while EK sat there waiting for her father. EK's father arrived at school and he was told about what had happened. From what I was told, he showed very little emotion concerning his daughter's actions. The only time he had any real reaction was when he was explained that his daughter would be suspended for a week for fighting and bullying. He asked about her classwork and the vice principal said that all of EK's teachers would be creating assignment lists for the week. He would be able to pick up EK's books and assignments the next day, but it was stressed that EK was not to return to school until the suspension was over. She could not go down the hall for any reason. He was to immediately take her out of the school. So what does this father do? He took his daughter and immediately marched down the hall and right into the room where Gigi was sitting. According to the teacher, the father stomped into the room with EK following behind. He glanced at the teacher before turning and staring at Gigi. He loudly announced that EK has been wrongly suspended for a week and that he needed her assignments. The entire time both he and EK are staring daggers at Gigi. The teacher told him that he needs to leave immediately. He tried to insist that he needed the assignments first, but the teacher stood her ground. Again, she told him to leave her class and they finally did. But they didn't leave the school. They went to EK's locker and got out her books, but they were doing this very slowly. The teacher contacted the office because she was afraid they were trying to wait for Gigi to leave the class when the bell rang. We didn't have security at the school, so the vice principal called on the football coach, he was also the vice principal's husband, to escort the father and his daughter from the school. They protested a bit more, but they finally did leave. EK returned after the week and almost immediately went back to bullying Gigi. This time something was done before it got to the point of someone bleeding. EK was suspended again and eventually her father took her out of school. I don't know what happened to them after that. As a bit of a side note, the teachers strongly encouraged Gigi's mother to press charges of assault, but she opted not to do so. Kid hits me with a baseball bat and I get in trouble. ED entitled dad, EB entitled brother, M me. Today I was trying to help EB hit a baseball. I held the ball up to his bat and said to lightly touch it so he could get better aim. He started giggling and hit my hand as hard as he could. It hurt like hell. Out of surprise I pushed him and he exaggeratedly fell on the ground. He started crying and said how I'm such a bully and I'm always mean to him. He runs into the house sobbing. ED, come in now. I come into the house and see EB sobbing on his mother. ED, explain what happened. M, I tried helping him with his batting and he purposely hit me. EB, it was an accident. I got in trouble for even trying to teach him in the first place, even though ED used that method to teach me when I was his age. I was screamed at for defensively pushing him and he kept bringing that up when I started to sound logical. Now I have a huge bruise on my hand and my brother got through with barely any yelling done to him. I cannot play baseball anymore at home with an aluminum bat and can only use a dumb wiffle bat now. ED only made me say sorry as EB stupidly sat crying on a chair giving me a smug stare. What a B. You're pissed at me because your little brother tried to hit me. For context, I'm tired after a long day at school. I'm walking to the school bus and I'm trying to get to my seat. When I get on the bus, I see some little crap, LS, sitting in the middle of the aisle. I try to ask him nicely to move. He completely ignores me, so I tap him on the shoulder to get his attention. His reaction to this is to fall on his back and start screaming. I simply walk over him and I think that's the end of it. But guess what? It's not. LS walks up to me and goes, "What's your problem?" I just go, "What's your problem?" He then tries to hit me and move out of my way. His hand hits the seat and LS starts freaking crying. He then goes to his sister ES, who starts going on about how I shouldn't have hit LS, which, by the way, is like a freaking prince to her. Then, his school brother CB asks what's going on. After that, some idiot, AH, starts to explain his messed up version of the story. I learn a little while later, 20 minutes, that CB doesn't actually give a crap, but ES is still going psycho mode and she yells at me when I get off the bus. Alright guys, that was everything I had for today. I will be back tomorrow with more fresh stories. Also, don't forget to leave a like if you have enjoyed the video and subscribe. Have a nice day.